Hello, everyone. Happy, thankful Black History Month. Thank God we don't look like what we've been through. And I'm super duper excited because I have some amazing guests with me this afternoon. The one and only Mr. Steve Edwards of Mr. 750, okay, Mr. 750 credit counselor, okay, because he makes it happen for those of you who are interested in building your credit as well as developing a better relationship with money. And then to my right, I also have Miss Melody Walker, amazing woman who is out here helping so many people take their finances to the next level. So as you all know, it is Black History Month, and me and my team are doing 28 days, a month of melanin, okay? And in these 28 days, we're going to have a multitude of activities to help individuals who are looking to take their life to the next level. And if you guys know, like I know, it takes money to make the world go round, and we got to make sure that our finances are intact. Without further ado, I'm going to have Steve introduce himself and tell us what we do and how long you've been doing it.
Hey everybody, my name is Steve Edwards. I also go by Mr. 750, and I am the CEO of 750 Credit Counseling, located in Oak Park, Michigan, where we offer credit services as well as other financial services outside of our office. So a little bit about myself. I have been in the credit industry now for about 7 years. I started out getting into credit once I entered the real estate industry. And we all know with the real estate industry, credit is one of the main factors to purchasing a home. Myself, I went through the experience of having bad credit, and that was kind of the birth of me learning the importance of credit, how much of an impact that it can have on your life when it comes to progressing and being able to accomplish your goals. So with myself experiencing having bad credit, which I'm sure most of us have always have went through that experience, I kind of just started experiencing on my own credit. Some families and friends were helping them remove negative items, just going through the obstacles and learning the strategies of how to maintain and how to better a credit profile. The next phase was me being licensed in real estate and working with clients who wanted to purchase a home. One of the main obstacles that it was hard to overcome was people being able to get approved for a mortgage. So I dealt with time after time people who came to me and they wanted to build their credit in order to be able to get a pre-approved for a mortgage. So I think that's where I really dived in and started to create this whole credit movement where I anticipated getting everyone scored to a 700 or higher. I created something called a 700 Club. And from there, I had a couple clients that would call me, Mr. 750, because a lot of my results, I would get them somewhere around the 700 credit range. But nevertheless, credit is definitely major in the world today because it dictates employment, it dictates your financial freedom. It's the way you can purchase a home, the way you can purchase a car, and a whole lot of other things. I can go on and on. So I think that it was something that was not shown to us, coming up in high school, not even in college. I mean, there were other financial courses, but I don't think that it was a course that highlighted how important, credit is. And the only way that you were able to experience or understand it was to go through having bad credit.
Yeah.
And even for myself, the same way. And then that's when we realized, like, hey, this means everything. Like, I can't even get a job because I have poor credit. So I just want to bring awareness to the community, to the youth, to let them know that, this is something that we need to educate ourselves on, because I think that if we don't, we will keep ourselves kind of like in bondage a little bit, because it's so important to being able to have that financial freedom. And if you have goals to hit, if you are trying to start a business, all those things are going to fall in place, and you're going to have to be able to have your credit in order. So at 750 Credit Counseling, that's what we offer. We offer a counseling program. We help people remove negative items. We educate them on the importance of credit, and then also show them how to create a perfect credit profile. So those are a lot of the main services that we offer, along with some other financial services.
And you know what, Steve, what I love about having both of you here is you are what people should start off with.
Yeah.
You know, being young, coming out of high school, not knowing the value of their credit. You know, auntie, mom and them got, you know, bills in their name. And then you get about 25, 24 when you really kind of want to start diving into learning certain things. And so Melody Walker is here. You're here to talk about life insurance, retirement planning, and just developing your portfolio.
Yeah.
Tell me, how long have you been in business? And tell us a little bit about yourself and what it is you do.
Okay. Well, so just to kind of divvy off of what you just said, I would say that retirement planning should also be like put together with credit counseling at an early age.
Okay.
Because both of those are important and they work hand in hand.
Mm-hmm.
I've been in the insurance industry over 20 years. I started out working as a customer service agent for Prudential Life Insurance early on, first out of high school.
Wow.
And so, yeah, when I moved to Michigan, I attended Wayne State University. I wanted to be a news reporter.
Okay,
Yeah,
so you want to
and
do
so-
some media.
Yeah. I want to be a broadcast journalist. I feel like I could interview anybody.
Okay.
Yeah, and so, but I had two small children at the time, and I could not afford to take the pay cut and go to a small market like Alpena and begin my career. So what did I do? I went right back into insurance, and I got a job at AAA, or the better known as the Auto Club Group.
Yeah.
Across from Fairlane Mall. And I worked for them for almost 6 years in their call center as a property and casualty agent.
Okay.
Writing and providing sales and service for the insurers, auto and home insurance. And I kind of got tired of it because I wanted freedom.
Yeah.
I wanted to be able to control my schedule. And so I took another job with McLaren Hospital, who paid for me to get my life and health license. And a light came on, like ding, ding, ding. I am a walking and talking insurance agency. And so I thought about starting my own business and providing insurance services because I had all the licenses to do it. And so I came across GLP Financial Group, which is in Farmington Hills.
Okay.
And they are a firm, but what they allowed me to do was to work independently as an independent contractor and provide retirement services. So a lot of people don't know that retirement services is a product of life insurance.
Okay.
And so they are sister and brother. And so I've been doing this particular role for the last 3 years. I branded myself as Melodic Retirement Services, Retire Healthy and Wealthy.
Yes.
And
Okay.
so
Say that one more time. Say that one more time for the
Retire-
people in the back. Retire what?
Healthy and wealthy.
Yes.
And so GOP's primary position is to educate educators. So the premise of our company are educators, teachers, paraprofessionals, support staff. But I can help anybody beyond and outside of education. And the reason being is because the school district, whether you're in Detroit Public Schools, Southfield Public Schools, there is a IRS tax code, which is which is known as 403B. And we'll talk about it a little bit later in the presentation, but these are qualified plans. And these are the things that you want to take care or start to take advantage of to save for retirement. It's like the go-to to do. So I'll talk about that more when you give me the time to do
Yes,
this.
absolutely, absolutely. Now, we're celebrating Black History Month. And as you all know that, finances was something that, we were shut out of when it came to building our wealth.
Yeah.
And our ancestors come from a wealthy land. We were kidnapped, enslaved, and literally have to rebuild our entire lives.
True.
And although we're not slaves anymore, but it oftentimes feel like that we are being enslaved in a society that doesn't allow us to gain that financial freedom.
And we still have like an enslaved kind of mentality too, especially when it comes to money.
Especially when it comes to money. Now, can you tell me what are some of the apprehensions that you get from potential customers who don't understand the true benefit of what you all are offering them? For instance, I interview people often who are not prepared for even an interview. They want the interview. They want to be on TV. They want to be on the podcast, but they have not even prepared themselves or understand what they're getting ready to do. And so some people say, oh, yeah, get my credit because they know I can get access to some things, right? What are some of the challenges that you often face with people of color trying to get them to understand that giving me your money or giving me your information is for me to help you, not to hurt you?
Yeah, I think, especially in our community, you know, the black community, I think we have our guards up to protect ourselves, to protect our information. So when when someone comes to you and they want you to help them with their credit, I mean, a lot of people don't understand is I have to have all your personal and sensitive information. So you have to be able to put yourself in my hands to where you can trust me. I think initially, automatically, they're like, oh, you know, is my information going to be saved? Or I don't want to give this up or give that up. I don't have that problem much, but I'm just saying that's just the first thing I think, you know, people have their guards up, making sure that their information is protected.
Yeah.
Another thing, I think that people know that they want their credit fixed once they have gone to apply for a mortgage or apply for an auto loan, and then they're denied.
Yeah.
And then that's when the urgency is on at that point. So now they're like, I got to get my credit fixed, and I got to get it fixed fast. And what people don't understand is that it's a process.
Yeah.
It's not nothing that's going to happen overnight. You know, it didn't take you 30 days to mess it up, and, you know, it's not going to take you 30 days to fix it. You know, it is a process, and it's not just about having a good credit score. It's about building the perfect profile. It's about having a good credit mix. You know, it's also about having enough open accounts, the age of the account. So it's a lot of things that make up a good credit score, not just the score being a 700. So I think that's the part that I find myself having to educate so that they understand, like, hey, I'm fixing your credit, but there's also a lot of other things that you need to know, because don't think that you're just going to come up here and just because I remove some stuff, you're going to get the score that you expect.
Say it for the people in the back, because I think that's something too that people anticipate their credit counselors or the person that's working on their finances to turn their bank account into Disney World.
Yeah, and also, like, you know, there's work that you have to do as the consumer. You have to create a profile. You have to create history. Yeah. So, you know, I can remove negative items from your report, but then what are we going to do to rebuild? So I can do my part as far as removing things, and then I can give you advice on what to do so that we can build you up. Yeah. But you have to be the one to do it. And if you're not doing it, then nothing is going to happen.
Absolutely.
You know, so.
Absolutely. Now, what about you, Melody?
Yeah, no, I can agree with Steve on that, because, like you said, it's going to take you to do the work. And so what I find that I have people that are kind of polar opposites. I have people that have the income and they want to save. They're excited. They're like, sign me up, hurry up, let's do it. Then I have people say, I don't have no money. And you coming to get my money and I want to see you. And so I do have clients that sometimes they make me feel like it's a dark cloud over my head when I come and see them every year to renew their annual premiums and things like that. And it's kind of rough, because, like I tell them, I'm not taking anything from you. If anything, I'm showing you how to give something back to yourself. The number one rule to financial independence is to pay yourself first. Yeah. And I think a lot of times in our community, our people want to pay their bills first, and they're used to just paying out once they get their paycheck and living paycheck to paycheck, and not keeping anything for this. And if they do keep it for themselves, they're not putting it into a retirement account where they can't touch it. Right. So the number one thing that I try to instill in my client's head is that there is a big difference between investing and saving. Saving is saving, period. It has nothing to do with what you're doing with crypto. It has nothing to do with your stocks. It has nothing to do with your real estate investments or anything like that. If you have X amount of income, then 10%, 20%, or 30% of that needs to be put aside according to what you're able to budget in, and you need to stay consistent and disciplined to be able to do that to accomplish your financial goals. So that's kind of like just an educational type of thing. Just talking to the client to get them to say, hey, no, you got to pay you first. And you got to put the bill collector on a payment arrangement.
Yeah.
But put some money up first. And so it does become kind of, because I work in pretty much a white male dominated industry. The financial industry, when we're talking about Roths and we're talking about annuities and traditional IRAs and life insurance, a lot of times black people, I don't need to pay for that right now. And then in the pandemic, a lot of them, instead of keeping the life insurance going, a lot of people signed up, don't get me wrong, but some people was like, that's the first thing to go because they don't deem it as a priority. But it is a priority, and the new life insurance now is actually dual, so it actually does provide income protection now while you are alive. And so I try to instill that even the more to say, hey, this is something that you're paying into, but this is something that you have access to now. And so if, God forbid, you have a critical illness, God forbid you suffer a medical ailment, you have a contract you can pull money from, and you can keep your retirement assets protected. You don't have to liquidate those things. So it is a conversation of discipline, determination, and kind of just rejuggling the thought process when it comes to money and saying pay yourself first, and then everybody else is next according to your priority.
And you know what, when you said something that was so critical, a lot of us did not know that the pandemic was coming.
Yeah.
And it definitely changed the trajectory in a lot of people's finances. When people were used to getting clients, when they were used to getting money, they were used to being able to go out and do certain things. And so when the pandemic came, and it's still here, but it's not as strenuous, how did that affect your business, and how did it affect the kind of client that you had? Because we're talking about life insurance and then not people dying.
Yeah.
So did people just be like, okay.
Well, the good thing is that GOP, like, our numbers went through the roof. Like, we surpassed projections and everything like that. And so the people that, especially people like me that were agents that were not progressing or not being successful, was because they didn't want to work.
Yeah.
People were still, like I said, people were still getting the life insurance and seeing the value in it. But I did see some clients kind of fall off. And those are the clients that fall off anyway. They fall off with their savings. They fall off just with, because I don't think that they understand the value of it. So I have to go back to them and revisit, say, hey, let's get you back on track. But yeah, because we were able to work virtually, it worked out good, But at the end of the day, it was sad because the pandemic affected everybody differently. Of course, you don't want to call your client and hear somebody passed away.
Yeah.
You want to hear the good news that they're okay.
Yeah.
Luckily for me, I was blessed not to have any like close losses or anything like that. But a lot of people suffered.
Yeah.
They lost family members or they were sick, and so it's kind of like I become the person that. You have to have the uncomfortable conversation with me. Like, okay, well, life ain't gonna be forever. You want to go ahead and get that life insurance, or you just got over COVID. You sure you don't want to get you a policy? So next time if something happens, if you're off work, you can actually get some income. So that is, to me, sometimes the funny part of it, because you have to find the right time to have that conversation and have it in a way that's conservative, where you're not. You don't want to offend anybody, and you don't want to turn them off. But we have to have a conversation. It's like a critical conversation.
Yeah. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, so when you talk about retirement, first, most people, they would think through their employer.
Yes.
Do you have services that you offer just for, someone who's not with an employer, maybe?
Absolutely.
Or just self-employed.
Yep.
Things like that. So
absolutely. Yep. So the first go-to is that if somebody has a job, then they would go into their employer's retirement account, and you would say, okay, and there's a lot of things that I would probably kind of guide them to ask questions about their retirement account, but that's basically your go-to. That's the first and foremost way that you can use to save money more rapidly and more effectively fast, right? But for the person that's self-employed, that person that's 1099, you can actually create your own retirement plan under your business name. You can create your own retirement plan as an individual. And so, so you have those options. And the thing about it is the minimum is only $100 a month to start it.
Okay.
And so just like my CEO, Alex Kokeva says, he says, if you go see somebody and they telling you they can't save $5 a day, they a liar. And it's like, you're wasting my time and you waste your time, because if you look at it, if I say, okay, well, save, your budget is you want to put away $5,000 a year. Oh, I can't do that. If you break down $5,000 divided by 365, whatever that is, I mean,
small number.
Because you're going to spend that on a cup of coffee. You're going to spend that on your lunch. You're going to spend that to go out to eat.
We talking about Detroit. They're going to spend it on the chain. They're going to spend it on the outfit at Rainbows. You're going to spend it at Foreman Mills. You're going to spend it at the club. You're going to spend it at the strip club.
Yep.
You gonna spend it on your hair, your haircut, your lash extensions.
And I think that's the thing, to answer the question as far as how did the pandemic affect our business. I feel like for credit, the pandemic was a time where I think people had kind of touched more money than they probably ever touched. And you would think that would be a time that they would take some of that money and invest in themselves, fix their credit, start a retirement plan, start a business, and people didn't do that.
That's true.
So for me, credit slowed down tremendously. I would have thought that people would have been like, hey,
blowing
I'm getting my credit fixed now. I got, I can pay $1,200 up front, so but it wasn't that. I think and that's the lack of people being educated on the importance of credit. So, and I think that's where the awareness needs to be highlighted more, because if they understood the impact, then I think they would have, decided to get the credit fixed.
Because once the PPP and the unemployment ran out, they still would have had great credit and lines of credit.
Absolutely.
And access to funds. So when your money started being funny and your change started getting strange, you still have money over here that you've been building, working on, and investing and putting your money in.
Exactly. And another thought to that now is that people are paying restitution on what they received in the PUA money, right? So let's just say somebody was not getting that money legitly, right?
Right.
And let's say they got $25,000, and let's just say they put $12,500, whatever, into an interest-bearing account. Now, the money that you would have wasted really is now an investment for you, and it's gaining a return. And it could probably help you pay some of that restitution back, and you still got your deposit in.
And you still got a couple dollars.
You use the money to do the right thing. But most people, they didn't have that mindset to say, hey, I know that this could come back and I can owe this, or whatever the case may be. Take that money and turn it into an investment for yourself that could, be able to back you up or have your back if you do have to pay restitution, because you didn't quite.
And a lot of people are.
So let me ask you this. For individuals that say, Melody, Steve, I done messed up, okay? My credit messed up. I ain't paid. I don't got no life insurance. I got no retirement plan. I've been living my life like it's golden. I done tried to do what I can. And I just want my life right. I want to, it's the beginning of the year. This is the first day of February, Black History Month. And, we're going to have hundreds of people that view these videos, and they're making the conscientious decision to say, Jaja, I want to get my life together. I want to leave something for my kids. My parents are deceased. What do you tell somebody that wants to get their life on track in whatever age group they're in?
Well, I always try to start off with the small goal. So my question to someone who's coming to get the credit fix is always, what's your goal? Because I know to fix their credit, they have an intent to fix it. It's not just because it's less likely they will say, I just want to get my credit right.
Right.
It's because, I want to get a car.
Yeah.
My car broke down and I went to the lot, I got denied, and, or I want to, buy a house next year. Or I'm trying to start my business and I want to build business credit. So it's always a reason why they want to get a specific reason why they want to get their credit fixed. It's not just because. And I try to teach people, you need to fix credit just because that's your progress report of, of how you do. in your life. So, you know, when it comes to a lender, they're not just looking at your credit score. They're looking at who you borrowed from, how well you paid them back, how long it took you, how consistently you did that. So all those things play a factor. So usually that's my advice. I always ask, what's the small goal? Because I know, you know, you're fixing your credit for a reason, more than likely. And then after we accomplish that small goal, and then after that I can say, okay, now you got that car, you know, I know you're not just going to go mess your credit up again, so now what's next? You know, you're trying to start a business, okay, now we need to continue to maintain the credit and, you know, get to the point where now let's go over, turn this over to corporate credit so that you're able to accomplish more. So.
I like that. Yeah, my advice for some, you know, it's kind of, it's difficult because for me, age is a factor, right? You know, if I have somebody 18 and that's just starting their career, I'm super duper excited because now they're really like a blank canvas and I have more time to help them prepare, because if they start at 18 and they're done at 40, then between 18 and 40, I can really set them up to be in the millions depending on their discipline and how much they put into it. I always tell my clients that time is your friend in retirement planning. And so time, you know, in other areas kind of works against us, right? We don't want to age. You know, we're looking at time is running away from us, right?
Yeah.
But in retirement planning, time is your best friend, right? So the earlier you start and the more time you have, the more money you're going to have. And so I always tell people, and then you got to think about it like this, you know, if you do retire at 55 or 65, God willing, you have another 35, 40 years, you're going to need that money to last you your entire lifetime. And so if I had advice for somebody, number one would be to get a life insurance policy with living benefits. That's just first and foremost, because what that's going to do is protect their income now and potential income, potential assets for later.
And what is it called again?
Life insurance with living benefits.
Life insurance with living benefits.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, life insurance with living benefits. And what I mean by that is all the living benefits. Some insurance carriers might only pay you living benefits for a catastrophic accident or for something very serious. The company that I write for is National Life Group, and they are, oh, you like National Life Group? Okay.
So with living benefits, meaning these are for things that are going to occur while you're living.
Exactly.
Accidents.
Yeah, chronic illness, critical illness, critical injury, terminal illness. And so just depending on what happens to you, you know, and your doctor says A, B, C, D, F, G, you send that into the life insurance company. You're going to give you an offer.
Yeah. And
say, hey, you can take this now. And then, you know, that actually is going to come, you know, later on it's going to come from your death benefit, but you can accelerate your death benefit, a portion of it now, or, you know, if it's very, very serious, up to 90% of it. So that's first and foremost, just to get that. And then number two, if they don't have any type of real savings, that a retirement account, do you have $25 a week? Because it's only $100 minimum monthly to start it. And my thing is, start somewhere. So wherever you are, depending on your age, let's figure out how much time that we have left, and let's figure out based on your budget what we can do in that time frame. And I'll tell people, don't be discouraged. I just worked with a lady. She didn't start saving for retirement till she was 55, and I did a rollover for her at like 64, and she had like $255,000 in 10 years or so. Is that a whole lot of money? It's not a whole lot of money, but it's better than 100,000.
Yeah.
You know, it's better than zero.
Yeah.
And she was able to accomplish that just by cutting some things back and being disciplined and committing to funding her account.
Yeah.
Yep. So, you know, for me, I do have to have the conversation of, okay, how old are you? How much? You know, because if I meet somebody at 65 and they ain't got no money, it's kind of like, okay, well, how much are you going to work, you know, and are you healthy, you know? And so that can be difficult. But I do believe that it is customizable, especially with the life insurance now. It's not just cut and dry of, you know, this is your premium. You can tell me, okay, Melody, I can only afford $50 a month, and I can go in there and I can put in your date of birth, and I can put in a $50 premium. It's going to tell me the kind of coverage you'll get. So I can actually attack it from that angle, from a budget-wise angle.
Yeah.
And so, really, at that point, there's no excuse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, as a parent, my son, my baby, my prince.
God bless his heart.
Okay, you hear me? Because I'm just so grateful. You know, God has allowed us to matriculate through life together.
Yeah.
Because I was a teenage mom.
Yeah.
And when I had my son, life insurance was the furthest thing from my mind.
Wow.
The only thing that I was thinking about at that time was being somewhere safe and stable enough where I can raise my child, get a good job, make sure that I'm a good mother to him, and make
Yep.
sure that he learns what it is that he needs to learn. Now my son is 18, and he like, Mom, show me the money. You know what I'm saying? Like, I need my credit right. I need all of this. I need all of that, right? However, I feel like because I was a teenage mom, I did not allow, as a parent, to service him the way that I should have when you're grown. Because I was a kid raising a kid. You know what I mean? So we're both growing up together. To a mother, to a father that's maybe just had a kid or their kid has just turned 18. What advice would you give to the parent as well as for that particular child, whether they're young or they're just stepping out into young adulthood like my son?
Yeah. I mean, I would always say start with the IUL, the Index Universal Life Insurance. You can start that for your baby at newborn. And if you say at newborn until they're 22 or 25, I'm going to put $100 a month into it. You will be amazed at the accumulation value inside that contract once that child reaches, you know, the age of maturity. And that money is non-taxable. And so when they go to pull it out, they're not spending that dollar with Uncle Sam. So that's number one. And then number two, I would tell the 18-year-old, IUL, you know, because it's a I shouldn't say this, smack my hand, but it's kind of like a glorified Roth account.
Mm-hmm.
People like Roth accounts because they don't have to pay taxes on their accumulated value and the interest that's earned. But the Roth, you can only put in $6,000 a year into it right now based on the limits, right? In the IUL, you don't have those kind of restrictions. So if you want to put $20,000 a year into that policy, based on how you're funding it, you can set it up to be funded over and above the premium cost, so that now you're in the money. Now you're creating a cash asset inside of a contract where you don't have to split that with Uncle Sam. And then not only that, your beneficiaries that inherited are also receiving a non-taxable inheritance.
So what you're pretty much saying is if you start paying on your baby stuff now, by the time your baby get 18, your baby gonna have some bread, and you gonna have some bread too, because you ain't got to take care of your kid no more.
That's right.
And if your kid is 18, they still should get that type of account, because by the time they get to the age of the parent,
that's correct,
they gonna have a couple dollars,
that's right,
and they have some stability.
That's right.
So on both of your progress and setting up a client, what does that look like? They call you, or they say, hey, Ja, the people you had at your event, you know, what is it? How can I get in contact with them? What does that process look like? They reach out to you, and then what happens?
So if anyone's interested in credit education, credit counseling, or any type of credit services, they can reach out to me. Find me on Instagram at I am Mr. 750. They can also check out the website, which is 750ccgroup.com, and I can also be reached on my business line at 248-955-2231. So those are some ways that you can contact me. The first step is, you know, coming in for consultation, and that could be held via conference or in person, and where I would sit down with the client and kind of pull the credit reports, go over, you know, everything that's on the file. We can kind of come up with some type of strategy. You know, I can give my synopsis of how bad I think it is, or, you know, kind of like come up with a plan of how we can restore. And if they're interested in the services, then we go from there.
Okay.
Yep.
Awesome.
And then for me, it's more so just setting up an appointment. I am on IG as Melodic Retirement Services, LLC. I'm on Facebook as Melodic Retirement Services. And my phone number is 248-404-8034. A appointment can start with as simple as a paycheck analysis. If you have a paycheck, let's put it in the computer. Let's see how you're taxed. Let's see what your money looks like. So then at that point, we could tackle it from that point. Because a lot of times people don't understand that retirement planning is deferring your taxes. So instead of you giving Uncle Sam all your money now, you can roll some of that money over into your retirement plan and actually experience income tax liability in a sense. So what you put into your retirement, you don't pay taxes on now, right? And so that's just paycheck analysis. And so a lot of that is just done online. It can be in person. All of the applications now are electronic, and so everything is seamless. And so it's just like opening up a bank account. You're going to give me all your basic information, the stuff that Steve was talking about. People don't want to give up. You're going to have to give it up, and you're going to have to make a commitment, and you're going to have to get started, get serious about it. And it's just as simple as that. I mean,
Now, so Mel, you had a presentation.
I did.
So give us a brief, because I know it involved technology.
Right. Well, we were going to share the screen, and all I did was kind of just give out like just some things, just talking about what financial literacy is. I talked about financial literacy is budget.
Okay.
Okay, you got to create a budget. You got to know what you're bringing in, and you got to know what you're spending, so you can know where you can save, so you can kind of count in the cost, right?
So when do they think about budget? Is that in the beginning of the month, or
sometimes people don't have a budget until you tell them to get a budget, or we have to create you a budget, or some people already have a budget and they already have an Excel sheet and they know what they're paying every month.
So for people who don't,
even down to their subscriptions. I got a client sheet.
Because it is, and people don't realize how much money they lose off of subscriptions that they are not even utilizing anymore, and they forget that they have them.
I'm guilty of that myself.
Yeah, me too. What would that look like for a budget?
So a budget, you could look at it in terms of maybe a 80-20 plan. You know, 80% toward bills and the important stuff, 20% for me.
Okay.
You could probably do a 70, 10, 10, and 10.
Okay.
10% for me, 10% for ties, 10%, you know. You can do a 60-40. So it just really depends on the income, and then at that point we can figure out how to kind of divide the income and then what we're going to pay out, right?
Yeah.
The next part is save,
Woo!
right?
Jesus.
Yeah, because you have to make a commitment to save.
Yeah.
And then whatever you have extra, if you want to invest.
Now, Mel, how do we commit to saving? Because it just seemed like people can't save.
You commit to saving because what you do is when you get your paycheck, you save. If you get, let's just say a person makes $500 a week.
Okay.
I'm gonna save $100 a week for myself.
Okay.
Period. No matter what.
No matter what.
It don't matter. They can come knock on my door and boom, 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 boom. I ain't got it. Y'all have to wait.
I ain't got it.
Because if you ain't got it, you ain't got it.
I ain't got it. You ain't got
You
it.
ain't got it, you ain't got
I ain't got it.
I ain't got it.
And you know, I know to us sometimes as the advisor, as the person in the seat, as the professional, as the expert, it sounds easy to us, and it may not sound as easy to, you know, the client or the person who's inquiring. But, you know, I always say if it's something that you are motivated about doing, it's something that you want to make a priority, you will do it.
That's right, because when
know.
you want the new pair of shoes or when you want to get that ticket, you going to do it, right?
Yeah.
You got a lot of people. I know a person right now, and it's so bad. It sounds so east side, but if they want to partake and have some marijuana, they're gonna go get it.
How bad do you want it?
And they gonna go get it, and they gonna take their last $10,
Okay.
and they gonna make it happen.
And they gonna get that little gram.
It's always about how bad do you want it.
That's right.
If you feel like
The
you
hair,
can't do it, you
come
don't
on, the
want it that
makeup.
bad.
I'm trying to tell you, but I recycle.
So I'm not. That wasn't
I'm on the
personal.
budget.
But what I'm saying, even with women, when we take up our personal, you know, and I need my money for this. Well, you know, you got to set some of that hair money, some of that makeup money, some of that aside.
Especially if you want quality things. And
That's
one of
right.
the things that I've learned about our heritage, our history, we love the finer things.
We do.
Right?
We like looking like it.
In times past, in history, they have a better work ethic. I think I can say that, right? We're at an age where we can say,
Definitely.
The work ethic was different because they had to, right?
Yeah.
There are a lot of things that we don't do because we don't feel like we have to. You know what I mean? Like the man, there were no men back in the day that wanted to lay. I mean, I'm sure there were, but for the majority, there were men that got up. They took pride in getting up and going to go get the meat and potatoes to bring home to the family.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And at the time, and of course we're not in that time frame anymore, but there were people who had the ambition and the zeal to get out here and go get it.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Because there was something to go get.
Yeah.
Now you have another part of your project after the save.
Yeah, and so after the save, it was also invest. So obviously, they always say invest with whatever you are okay with losing, right?
Okay.
So sometimes people, I think, get mixed up with saving and investing. They kind of mix it. They feel like they buy some crypto, then that's their savings. And so crypto has done good. Like some people made money off of Dogecoin, but that don't be confused. That those are two different categories.
Yeah.
We talked about qualified savings plans. So your 401k, your 457, your 403b. Those are plans that are offered through your employer's plans, right? Two things I always tell people: make sure you find out when you're vested. Some companies, what that means is that your money and their money, your contributions and their contributions are all your own. So sometimes you can sign up with a company and you're excited, you get into the retirement plan, but you find out you're not vested for 3 years.
Yeah, they didn't take no money out your check.
And then they take the money out your check.
Oh.
Because you signed up.
Okay.
But then 2 years later, you get fired. Now what happened to that money?
Now what happened to that?
Yeah.
Run me my money.
They ain't giving you that money because you're not vested yet.
Dang.
And so those are the things that I kind of help people with and talk to them about. I had a slide here on stocks and investing. I am not securities licensed. My niche is savings. So I'm the person that you come to after you make those gains, after you sell that real estate, after you make that money in Dogecoin. You say, okay, I made an extra $30,000. I'm going to put it up. Then you contact me and I'll show you how to do that so you can use that money to matriculate more. I talked about just getting into it, just start, just if you have an employer plan, find out what's the name of it, find out how to sign up for it, get involved, get enrolled.
Now let me ask you this too, Mel.
Sure.
I know you mentioned about employers. What about those who are entrepreneurs?
Yeah.
We have an increasing number of individuals, African Americans, who are now stepping into their entrepreneurship, and they don't have a clue. Okay,
Yep.
They didn't have a clue as to how to start the business, and now they are making money, and they don't know what to do with it, how to make it work for them. What would you, or how would you advise an entrepreneur who has, their finances is kind of like this, because they're stepping out into entrepreneurship?
Their money fluctuates. Well, so for the entrepreneur, again, they're going to have to make a commitment and say, hey, I'm going to put X amount up regardless. And I know that if you don't have it, you can't put it away, right? For entrepreneurs, though, there's a plan called a Simple Employee Plan or Simple Employee Pension. It's actually an acronym is a SEP plan, and that's set up for entrepreneurs and businesses to create a retirement plan under your business name. And so up to there, you can shelter up to, I want to say, about $57,000 a year under your business income from taxation under your business. And so, again, that entrepreneur can start with a minimum of $100 a month and then just build that up. Maybe the first year they start with $100 a month. Maybe the second year they go $200 a month. And then they just keep on going up from there, and then that will help them to reach their retirement goals. But there's definitely something out there for everybody. The one thing about annuity contracts are that are written from life insurance companies, you can write it up as an individual. You can write it up as under a business. You can write it up as a traditional IRA or a Roth IRA. So it really just depends, like what Steve was saying, what are your goals? And then what I do is I help to kind of partner with you according to what your goals are and seeing where the money is at. Where can we find more money for you? And then creating a customized plan for you. So everything, in terms of what I do is, and I think what Steve is saying too, is kind of customized to what the client wants, right? And helping them to accomplish their goals. But what they have to do, and I think he and I can agree, is that they have to make up their mind that they want to do it, and they have to start.
Yeah.
And be determined to put in the work to get it done.
Now, what if somebody says, I want to come in here, I want something for my spouse, I want something for my children, like give me the shebang, I want the works for everybody in the house.
Right.
Right? Is that feasible?
Absolutely.
Steve? It's feasible.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
you took a day off.
Yeah.
Where you was at?
I'm sorry. I thought you were steering the question towards her. I mean, for families, starting with the children, or teenagers, a lot of parents don't even know that they can add their child onto their credit card if they have credit cards as authorized users.
Yeah.
Start them at an
How
early age.
old have to be for that?
I think you can start as early as 14.
Oh, really?
13,
Okay.
14. You can add them on as authorized user. You don't have to give them the card, so they won't actually be able to use it. But that could be their start to start establishing some type of history. By the time they're 18, they could already have above a 630, 640 credit score.
I love that.
And if your credit is not good, or if you don't have any credit cards, then I would at least advise you to educate your young child or your teenager on credit so that they won't make those mistakes that you made.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't have good credit to where you can give them advice or have enough knowledge to tell them the right and the wrong, then get with a relative or a friend and ask them if they could just give them some insight, just so that they're prepared for the real world. And not left blind, so when they go off to college and they get that first credit card offer, and now they're using that credit card just because they got it and they don't understand how to properly use it.
Yeah.
So that would be my advice. And just to families, altogether, I mean, depending on, what you want out of life, where you're going, what type of plans and goals you have, you want to get your credit tight just because, to give yourself a brighter future, your children a brighter future, and just to minimize your financial, hiccups in life. So.
Okay. I definitely agree with that. And so, Mel, you were talking, you were going into get it.
Yeah, I was saying get into it. Yeah, and I was just kind of like saying, hey, get into contributing to your employer retirement plan, get into your life insurance. A lot of times people stop the life insurance, they feel like their employers offer them life insurance, they don't need any more.
Mm-hmm.
But what they don't understand is that when they leave that employer, if they get terminated or when they retire, that coverage will stop.
Yeah.
And so you need something permanent outside of your employer, because if you change employers, if something happens, if you move, you will have that permanent coverage already locked in.
Yep.
And just like as what Steve was saying, is that you can also start custodial accounts for your children, custodial Roth IRAs, custodial traditional IRAs. Like again, you can start your child index universal life insurance. And so the earlier the better, but it's never too late. And so my thing is just get it done. For people that have had the blessing of being able to acquire a lot of assets, life insurance is good for them, because when it comes to estate taxes, then the life insurance can actually cover the part of their taxation so that their beneficiaries can receive the substance of their portfolio. And so it's relatable to everybody, whether you have some money, whether you don't have a lot of money, or whether you have a whole lot of money. It's for everybody. So this was about a 13 slide thing I had here.
Okay.
But I did talk about how to build generational wealth, because I think, especially for the month of Melanin and Black History, right? We need to reset and say, how can we, create the foundation? If I didn't inherit anything, how can I create that now for my children and my children's children? And so the number one thing I put on here is life insurance.
Okay.
Number one, period. You need to have that. Number two, I talked about ownership, real estate, things like that, because if your child can inherit a home, they ain't got to worry about paying mortgage or rent to nobody. A lot of times, people wonder about how will that asset be transferred over into a child. I just talked to a client the other day. She told me her dad just put her name on the deed downtown. And when he passed away, she didn't have to go to probate court or anything like that. They didn't need a will. They didn't need a trust or anything like that. So those are just small things we can do to make sure that assets go to our heirs. Of course, they can inherit retirement accounts. We know that that will be taxed on to your beneficiary. So again, going back to the life insurance, the life insurance, your beneficiaries won't experience taxation with that. Generational wealth comes from entrepreneurship, starting a business, transferring that business down to your children, and them taking that on, over time. I even put on here, even though I don't know a whole lot about it, but I know with some money in it, is patent and trademarking. Your brand, your ideas. A lot of money is in that. Like if you make up a term or a phrase, you gotta go and register that, and if somebody use that, they gotta pay you some money.
That part.
That's
y'all stay using. Yeah, I said it before I take it back. I'm ammo to it. I'm trying to tell you.
There you go. And then I have on here again life insurance. So again, I cannot stress that enough. Just the importance of having that. A lot of people don't know that life insurance is also exchangeable. So like say if you have a policy that's 10 years old but it does not have living benefits, and you come across Melody Walker and you say, you know what, like Melody, I like those living benefits, we can actually exchange your old policy for the new one.
Yeah.
So just like you can roll money over from one financial institution to the other, you can roll your policy over from one old policy to another, and the cash assets that are in that policy will roll over into the new policy. So those are all things that we can do. So what I'm saying is, let's revisit it. Let's talk about it again. Let's open up that door. Let's make sure that we cross our T's and dot our I's, and make sure that our affairs are in order.
Yeah.
And so that we are building legacy and building ownership, so that we can acquire generational wealth. But just to go back, it starts with life insurance.
Absolutely. Now, as we come to a close, the whole purpose of the Lunch and Learn series today was My Finances Matter. And as you know, we are continuously growing as a community. We're growing as an ethnicity. And what advice, or what piece of advice would you give to individuals that are looking to allow their finances to matter, to really tap in and get their money right? What advice would you give them?
My first advice would be educate yourself on credit. If you know that your credit is not right, it's just like in investing in anything else, you're investing in yourself. And I think that an investment in yourself is by far way more important than anything else. So, that's the first start as far as getting your credit together. So if you've been debating if you should do this, if you've been anticipating on doing it, the time is just to do it. You have to get up and you have to do it. Even if it takes for you to start educating yourself. There's all type of websites you can go to educate yourself about credit. Just start there.
Yeah. Understanding the importance of it.
Yeah, I totally agree with everything he just said. Getting started, creating a budget. If you already have a budget, then learning how to cut some things back so that you can put more away for yourself instead of more going out. Revisiting life insurance, and then revisiting your employer paid retirement plan. Sometimes people just have money all over the place. They may have an employer over here and they have $10,000 over here. Then they went to a new employer and stayed with them 2 or 3 years. Now they got a few thousand over here. Well, so now we have to kind of find that money and bring it all together. So just having a conversation with somebody like me and say, okay, where have you worked in the last 10 years? Oh yeah, you're right, I do got some money. Right, okay, well let's call them. Let's give them your social security number so they can locate that account, get a statement, and let's get that money to start your bucket, your portfolio, and then now you can just add to it. So sometimes it's just you have to be open about it, and I think that just like with life and everything, being open, honest, and being transparent will really open the door to more success for you.
Yes.
So with somebody like me and somebody like Steve, you just have to be honest.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
just come with everything on the table and say, this is what I got. I don't know nothing about this, and then we can pick up the rope from there and just kind of help you, guide you toward what your own personal success is.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, Steve, if somebody wants to set up a consultation with you, they want to reach out to you, they want to slide in your DMs, you know what I'm saying? They want to pull up on you, pull up on me. How can they reach you? How can they find you? How can they follow you? And how can they get the information that you have to offer?
Okay. Again, you guys can follow me on Instagram at IamMr750. You can also visit our website at 750ccgroup.com. or you can reach us on the business line is 248-955-2231. Those are some ways that you can contact us. And then the first step again would just be to set up a consultation.
Okay, what's the number one more time?
248-955-2231.
Awesome. And Melody, Miss
Yes.
Melody Walker, $1 Million Mail.
Yep. So my contact is my number. Feel free to call me or text me. Just book an appointment. It's 248-404-8034. Feel free to slide in my DM on IG at Melodic Retirement Services altogether. And message me, just let me know that you watch, that you're interested, and we can always get started. I'm also on Facebook under Melodic Retirement Services as well. And my email is mwalker@glpwins.com. And I want to give GLP their points because I am Melodic Retirement Services, but I have a whole army behind me, which is my firm, that does compliance, that does the legal stuff, that makes sure that everything is right, because when you're dealing with people's money, it has to be right.
Yeah.
And so I love the fact that I have a whole team behind me that helps me to serve in excellence. So big ups to GOP. We are GOP.
Okay, what's the number again? One more time, Mel.
248-404-8034.
Listen, I hope you guys enjoyed the Lunch and Learn series. My Finances Matter with Steve Edwards as well as Miss Melody Walker. I'm super duper grateful that you all were able to come tonight. It is definitely needed that our people are educated in the world of finance. We're always the last to learn about things. We're always the last to figure it out. And then we are trying to rush and get to where we need to go. And for those individuals that are looking to build their portfolio and have some financial stability, I endorse these two as individuals that are doing some amazing things, and they definitely have helped my life this evening as well as my life in general. Steve has helped my credit, and Melody, me and her gonna talk about some life insurance because I already got Tayshawn, so I got to recommit mine.
Okay.
Don't y'all think about doing nothing, okay? Because ain't nobody got time to play no games because y'all name ain't even on it. But nevertheless, I thank you so very much, and you all have an amazing and blessed evening. And if they want to reach out to you, please slide in their DMs and tell them Jaja sent you. I love y'all. Peace.
Sweet.
Nice.
Let me go check this.
So, Steve, I do want to